Hello and welcome to another episode of the Y'all Dirty Podcast. I am your host, Sara, professional organizer, cleaner, packer in Indianapolis, Indiana, as well as in Nashville, Tennessee. Along with me is my sound engineer, Eric. How are you, Eric?
I'm here.
I'm here. We are here. How was your week? We're getting a little bit of extra in there today.
There
you
we
okay?
Go. Yep, we got it.
Did you drink a little bit?
Oh, it's been one of those days.
I know. I appreciate you being here. How was your week in terms of after we recorded episode 1?
I went home. I used my towel 3 more times.
In addition to the 5?
Nope.
Oh.
Just because I think most people were like grossed out. But I was like, man, I just didn't have another towel in there to swap it with. So I'm like, well, I've made it this far. Bacteria ridden, apparently.
How many towels do you have just for you? How many bath towels?
Oh, I don't know. There's probably 15 of them.
Oh, so you just didn't have another one.
Right there.
You just pushed past everything that we talked about and just continued on.
There's a primary storage location that's like in a hall closet.
Right,
and then
right.
that fills the little things.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go like refill my inventory, so I thought, well, I'm just going to wing it.
Gotcha.
The old bacteria towel here.
Okay. That's okay, because you still kind of fall into the 50% category.
Yeah. Plus the giblets towel. So.
Right. Plus the giblets towel. So Eric and I just recorded our first Patreon episode. I'm super excited about it. We are now on patreon.com, and we are patreon.com/Y'all Dirty Podcast. We're going to have 2-tier memberships. Tier 1 is going to be audio of this extended episode. It is going to be called Y'all Slightly Dirty is tier
Pretty
number
good.
1. Tier number 2 is Y'all Really Dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be the video. So if you're used to listening to your podcast in the car, or just you like to listen to it, the audio, you would probably be great on tier 1. Tier 2, if you're someone that likes to watch your videos on YouTube and you see the facial expressions, and if we do product reviews, you can actually see what we're suggesting. That's tier 2. So today's episode, Patreon episode, is an extension from last week's episode of the bath towel. We talked about, there was an Inside Edition clip that we talked about. They actually followed 3 different people and swabbed their towel and told them how dirty they were. We reviewed a travel towel that I got off of Amazon. Weird
little towel.
Eric just doesn't understand. I think it makes perfect sense. I think it's a great little towel. So we talk about that. Eric decides to make a game of it for some reason. I guess it's super important how quickly I can fold this towel back up. So there's like a little bit of a towel folding race that I was prompted to do.
Yeah.
So, we cleared up the misconceptions of the continuous towel roll, the old-fashioned one where you pull it down and it keeps rotating through. That was pretty interesting. And then we solved the mystery of Eric's quote-unquote hippie laundry sheet.
Oh.
So we did all that on patreon.com. That's going to be posted ASAP. I'm still getting used to all these platforms. I'm kind of old school. I've never done Patreon before. From what I understand, even if you don't subscribe right now, if you subscribe down the road, say episode 3, 4, 5, whatever, once you're on there, you can actually go back and listen to or watch old episodes. So, if you're not really sure about it right now, but you want to do it later, then, that's something that you can always jump into down the road. Okay, so Eric, you didn't know I was going to do this. I am super excited. I'm actually to the point of giddy.
Oh no.
I have a present for you.
No. Mm-mm.
So I'm so excited. We finished the episode last week and I ordered this. And do you have that little sound bite from The Office that's what she said?
That's what she said.
Well, we're not ready to use it yet.
That's what she said.
You know.
What I was going to say was I ordered this last week, but I did not expect it to come so quickly.
Oh, yep.
Oh, you're not going to hit it now?
Well, I don't want to overdo it, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, okay. So I'm going to show this to Eric, and then I'm going to hold it up and show it to our YouTube watchers.
Oh, my goodness. Giblets.
What
it's a giblets towel.
Okay, so for those of you watching on YouTube, I got Eric a hand towel that says "Y'all Dirty Giblets," and then on the back it says the Y'all Dirty Podcast. What's really funny is the size of this thing. It just said, "Do you want to customize a hand towel?" And I was like, "Heck yeah!" They must have thought that Eric's jibs were a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
like,
that's appropriate.
This is not to scale, correct?
It's probably to scale. That's fine.
Well, I think part of this, the reason it's so wide, is that if you kind of do this little trifold thing and you hang it over like a shorter or like a little, but if you hang it the correct way, like over a bar like this, then it'll air out your giblet towel. Do you like it?
I actually love it. I can't wait to hang it up.
Well, this is for you. I'm going to toss it to you.
All right.
There you go. What do you think as far as the texture of that thing? Do you like it?
I actually do. It's like dense, or I don't know. It's soft.
It's thick. It's not like plush, like those really like plush. Oh my gosh, there's like little fibers. But like we talked about before, it's shedding, but in a good way. It's brand new.
I'm gonna go and take a picture of this and send it out.
So what I have decided is we are gonna have merchandise. And of course, I, get super excited with things and I probably take on too much. So I'm not sure when this is actually going to be on our site. I'm actually trying to finish up our website. So once we have that going, we're going to have merchandise. We're going to have the Y'all Dirty Giblet towel. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is that I sent, it just came today. So I took a picture of it today and I sent it to one of my clients. They're engaged and they're hysterical. I just went to their engagement party a few weeks ago. But I told her, I said, you have to get this for your fiance. Yeah. I think it's a great, whether it's a gag gift or you just if you're husband and wife or if you're, roommates or whatever. And I wish people could see the smile on your face. You look so excited. I
do love this. Yay! I can't decide if I want to hang it up in the office or take it home.
Well, hang it up in the office and then go home and don't go home and use it and then bring it into the office and then hang it. Just a disclaimer, if it's hanging up in the office, make sure it's still brand new.
Yeah, or if it feels crusty, don't.
Right. Okay. So, yes, we will get some merchandise up. I'm just so excited about that. It's like Christmas Day. I've been waiting to give that to you.
That's actually fantastic.
Yay. Well, I think we'll also have to look for a smaller hand towel that maybe once you have it folded, you can see the little giblet thing, more to scale for you.
Could be like a handkerchief size and go in people's pockets. Yeah. A very fancy.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So as I was doing this, I was thinking, okay, so if it's a female towel, what do you call a female giblet area?
Maybe giblets?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to confuse it with, especially if you have a husband and wife towel or like a his and hers or whatever. I feel like we need to come up with some kind of name because I couldn't think of anything that was really exciting. I was going to give you that for homework. So. Yeah. All right. So episode 1, just to recap. If you haven't seen it, please go back and listen to it so that some of this, especially the gift that I just gave Eric, will make sense. Mm-hmm. So basically we talked about how often you should wash your towel, replace your towel. And this is all bathroom towels as far as your bath towel, your hand towel, all of that. So you want to try to keep 2 to 3 washes or 2 to 3 days. You want to replace your towel at least every 2 years. Or if that's if you replace all of them at the same time, or if you're slowly replacing them one at a time every 2 months. So maybe just think about the power of 2 days, 2 months, 2 years. So today, last week, Eric made a comment and I said, that's going to set us up for next week's episode. What I was actually going to talk about is something we're going to talk about a little bit further down the road because today's episode will actually set us up for the one I originally thought we were going to do today. So, and then at that point, I think we may have a guest come on and talk with us a little bit more about that.
Okay.
As far as what I was thinking. So, to set us up for today, we actually have 2 different clips. The second clip is going to be later in the episode, but Eric, if you want to go ahead and just play that first clip, I think it's going to explain very clearly what today's episode is going to be about.
Okay, here we go. Maybe.
This video is disturbing. An employee is seen licking her fingers repeatedly as she appears to be preparing donuts for customers. After she licks her fingers, she sprinkles something over the donuts, then proceeds to lick her fingers and touch the donuts again and again and again.
Okay. So obviously you can't see this clip, and I just want to tell everyone we're not going to call out this bakery. This was a news clip from a bakery, I think in Pittsburgh or something, and I think it's been a few years. I mean, if you're worried about any of these establishments that you go to, you can always Google them. But I'm laughing because the video, this girl, so obviously it's talking about she works at this bakery and she's preparing donuts. But if you watch the video, she's wearing this tank top that I can only describe as maybe like, we call them shelf tanks. I sleep in them sometimes because it almost kind of has like a built-in bra, but it's not that supportive. Mm-hmm. So it's not, so this woman is wearing this, I'm just going to say, trashy tank top. And the only thing that I give Eric beforehand are the clips. I give him the clips just so he can set them up. And it's funny because here she's licking her fingers. She's touching the donuts. She's licking them again and putting sprinkles on them. She's doing all this gross, disgusting stuff. And the first reply I get from Eric has to do with the fact that she has a nice rack.
She has giant knockers. And it's kind of, I mean, it's right there in the middle of the video. I'm like, well, they were somewhat distracting.
Okay, so and I think that brings up an interesting point. Do you think something is less gross if you're distracted? Did you even care about the fact that she was licking her fingers and touching donuts?
Absolutely not. I didn't care. And I sent this out and shared it with like 5 people, and they all...
Did you?
100% of the people in my survey, said hashtag worth it.
Hashtag worth it. I like.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize you were doing offline service. Eric, I am so proud of you.
I know.
Look at you. I feel like I have just motivated you to start doing some of this research on your own, even though your research was kind of a different motive. I'm proud of you.
Surprise, motherfucker.
These things happen.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So today we are going to be talking about dirty finger lickers.
When you say it like that, it sounds so much worse.
See, because that's what's actually happening.
Yeah.
I know you're just focused on the sub-chestural region, as you would call it.
Knowledgement.
The knowledgement. I feel like by the time we get through a season or 2 of this podcast, we're going to have a special dictionary to publish from Eric.
I could see that.
It's going to have Eric's pretty face on the front, and it's just going to have all the lingo. Okay, so obviously, you know, if you look at a clip like this or listen to the details behind it, it's disgusting. Anyone who is preparing food, whether you're at home or you're working for a restaurant, you know, obviously there are guidelines to what you can and cannot do. As we go along in this episode, there's going to be other bits of information that come into play that kind of explain why this is so gross. It is gross. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you don't want people touching their mouths and putting their saliva on your food, just like people don't like having spit in their food.
Right.
But with your fingers being wet, here we go with the moist talk again.
Yeah.
That actually contributes to the grossness in a different way than you would think. Okay. So as far as this personal hygiene for food handlers thing, we're not going to go into it in depth. It's just a few things that I wanted to mention. Bacteria that can cause food poisoning can be on everyone, even healthy people. You can spread bacteria from yourself to the food if you touch your nose, mouth, hair, or your clothes, and then food. I think even in her case, if she has an itch on one of her knocks, then you've got knock sweat.
You're ruining this for me. So, yeah, you're talking about
I hope so. I have
bacteria.
to just... I know. Chestoral bacteria.
Oh.
I guarantee you, people, no other podcast is going to talk about any of this stuff. And I have tried looking for it because that was part of my research was, hey, is this a unique idea? I'm telling you, we're onto something. So, of course, you're never supposed to smoke, chew gum, spit, change a baby's diaper.
Oh, God, who would do that? But, I guarantee there's some nasty...
Yes. Well, and I don't like going through a drive-through and then you see an employee come out the back door and they're smoking. And they're smoking near, I don't know. Like, I've never been a smoker, but, like, I've worked in restaurants, and the people that got smoke breaks, they would come, like, especially if it was, like, a busy time, like a rush, like a dinner rush.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to call anybody out, but sometimes they would just kind of rush in, and the manager would be like, you need to get back out there. And maybe they would go in and wash their hands.
Right.
I don't know. But, you just, yeah.
Well, in some of those smaller restaurants, they're handling money and food, and there's no gloves, and
Yes, and the handling of the money. We're going to talk about that in a little bit in terms of porous and non-porous inanimate objects. The term is actually fomites, and that just describes inanimate objects that can transport, I guess.
Whoever came up with that word, I'm sure it's a great time to be around.
Well... some of these articles, I'm going straight to the bottom and I'm trying to find where they got their information. Sometimes it can be a little bit too much to go to these, really long, like research papers, but I'm trying. You need to avoid wearing jewelry for obvious reasons. You don't want anything to slide into the food. They also say you shouldn't wear nail polish because it can chip off into the food. And in her case, if she's licking her fingers, her little sausages.
Yes.
And completely cover all cuts and wounds with a wound strip or a bandage. And then, of course, wear disposable gloves. So, the fact that she wasn't wearing gloves, the fact that she was putting her fingers in her mouth, all kinds of horrible things there. Yeah. So now let's talk a little bit about hand washing in general. Because that's going to set us up for all the other fun stuff we're going to talk about.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So most of the germs that make us sick are transferred through direct or indirect contact with contaminated hands or surfaces. Now, here's the sentence that there's a word in here that actually just made me cringe, and that takes a lot. Okay, so our hands carry on average 3,200 different germs belonging to more than, here it comes, 150 species.
Ooh.
Species. So when you think about germs as species, doesn't that give you a little bit more of an ick factor? Yeah, that's some fun stuff. Okay, so as far as hand washing, the palm of the hand. Let's see. Oh, there's this. Pfizer did this myth or fact thing. The palm of the hand is the most commonly missed area during hand washing. Myth or fact? And they say myth, that the fingertips and thumbs are actually most commonly missed. And then it talks about scrubbing your hands for 20 seconds. We all have heard sing happy birthday twice. Okay. Then it says using a standing bowl of water is sufficient to rinse my hands clean. Myth or fact?
Who does that?
I don't know. I don't know if this is like if you're out somewhere without running water. I guess that's better than not washing them at all. But no, you don't want to wash your hands in a bowl of water. And they say that it can actually increase the risk of contamination if you do that. Rinse your hands well under clean running water so that bacteria are washed away. Also remember to keep your hands pointing down so that the contaminated rinse water washes away instead of running up to your wrist and elbows.
And under your watch.
That's a good one, yeah. And I wear this little, I'm not wearing it today, but I wear like a little Whoop strap.
Oh, your puffy shirt's kind of went up a little bit. You had it down to your thumbs earlier. That was really distracting.
Eric loves my puffy shirt. He calls it my puffy pirate shirt.
She definitely looks like a
He
pirate.
spent part of the Patreon episode making fun of me, which is fine. I told him it makes my arms look slim.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the last week or two of summer. I feel like I just need to
show off.
I show off. Well, I need to show off that fake tan that you were making fun of me about last week. So, between the...
Was that thing a lampshade at one time? Look at the top of that. If you look at the top of that, I'm going to say...
It does kind of crinkle like a lampshade, doesn't it?
Or maybe it was some horrible tacky curtains.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, when I was in, I don't know, college or high school, my mom had been into making my own clothes for different things, and I tried it, and I think I did find an old curtain or tablecloth, and I made this shirt out of it, and I thought I was cool, and it just, I don't think I have any pictures of it, but
Man,
this is probably the closest thing. I like it. It's flowy, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're wearing a shirt like this and you go to wash your hands.
What's the occasion you wear a shirt like that?
Well, it's just a flowy shirt.
Attending an execution or is there any kind of special time?
Recording a podcast.
Uh-huh.
Well, I told you that driving here, sometimes, if I was going to cross my arms.
I wish I could
Yeah, that's the last thing I need is to get into a wreck and have to explain to the officer that my poofy pirate. Oh, because you were talking about the Seinfeld episode with the pirate shirt.
Yeah, the puffy pirate shirt.
Puffy pirate. Okay, way to get on a tangent. Okay, so what would never happen to you, or what would happen to you if you never washed your hands? That's a fun little article from businessinsider.com. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but basically your hands can have anywhere from 100,000 to a few million germs at any given time. They talk about hand washing as well. Oh, this was really fun and disgusting. Okay, so you probably wonder, at what point did people realize that washing hands was important? Do you know this?
No.
So way back in the 1840s, there was a Hungarian doctor, I'm assuming it's Ignaz Semmelweis is how I'm going to pronounce it.
Common spelling.
Right. He noticed that when doctors performed autopsies and then helped women give birth, it led to a higher death rate among the mothers.
Oh, that's so...
Can you imagine? Obviously, there was a time when all of that was just common, that in the same room, maybe, the one doctor that was there was cutting open a dead body and then going over to a birthing mother and pulling it's just so gross. So gross. So at some point he noticed this and he implemented chlorine hand washing practices throughout the hospital, and death rates dropped significantly.
Who would have thought?
Surprise, surprise. Anyway, so the other thing, in that video, she's touching her mouth. The other thing is that, when you touch your face, so your mouth, your nose, and your eyes are all obviously areas that can take in these germs and make you sick. So it talks about disease-causing germs, bacterial conjunctivitis, which is pink eye. So if you go to the bathroom and don't wash your hands, preparing uncooked meat, petting certain animals, or coming in contact with fecal matter, your stomach is about to feel pretty terrible. So, like I said, in another episode, in a future episode, we're going to talk about food poisoning. And that's going to be...
Yes. Did you reach out to Matt?
No, I have not yet.
He's in Florida, by the way.
Is he still in Florida? Okay. Yeah. So that one, we're gonna try to get him in here because I am curious about all of that. Plus, I think we should show him the video. Was he one of the people you sent that to?
Mm-mm. Okay. No, yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. On my poll. Yes, it was.
So apparently the owner of that bakery didn't know she was doing that. I don't know if a customer complained and they pulled, if a manager pulled the footage, but this TV station actually had the owner on their show and showed him the video. And
but the weird thing is the camera. It's not up high like a security camera. It looks like a camera they set on the.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, it's like they set a camcorder up facing her, and she still did it. So
yes,
maybe
Do you think that was a hidden camera, like off? Like maybe that's a corner. Do you think that table is pushed up, maybe like in a corner or something?
Heck.
I don't. You're right, though. It's not like one of those that you would see like in a grocery store that's up high. No, you're right.
This thing looks like it's sitting on a table.
Do you think she was recording it to put on OnlyFans?
I really hope so. And there's a little thing I want to play for this, because when I see people do silly things like that.
Excuse me, my friend here has an IQ of 38. We can park here, right?
I don't know why that's funny to me, but.
Hey, I'll take it. I love your surprises.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
That's a great movie, by the way.
What movie is that from?
The Ringer.
What is that about? Doesn't matter.
Well, yeah. It's Johnny Knoxville, and they fixed the Special Olympics.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I remember Johnny Knoxville.
Hilarious.
I'm sorry, but this microphone keeps attacking me. It keeps swinging in towards my face. Anyway, see how excited you got.
Mm-hmm.
Me saying that. Germs can survive for up to 3 hours on your hands. There are between 2 to 10 million bacteria on your fingertips and elbows. The number of germs on your fingertips doubles after you use the toilet. When you don't wash your hands, you transfer germs to the food and drinks you eat. And here's the last part that is important for the rest of this episode. Your hands spread 1,000 times more germs when they are damp than when they are dry. Did you know that?
Disgusting. And no, I did not.
So my assumption of this video is that if she were simply touching her face and then touching the donuts, obviously that would be gross.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that her hands are wet, that's why, like in some of these hand washing hygiene things for food preparation, not only do they say that they have to wash their hands thoroughly, but they have to dry their hands thoroughly. Did you know that? So it's not just washing your hands and shaking it off and then touching food, because the moisture can help transmit even faster, 1,000 times more germs, in fact.
I got to do this for you. Keep going.
What?
Nope, just keep going.
What are you doing? Are you going to attack me? What are you doing? Why are you taking off your headset?
I'm just going to bring this right over.
For the...
Just go ahead and stick your hand out there.
You could have... Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, that's so much. Why'd you get... Oh, my gosh.
I'm not there to hit the button now. That's what she said, but... okay.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't expect so much to come out of the thing. Yeah.
That's just...
Thank you. Now my hands are very moist.
Yeah, but it's with alcohol, so...
Gosh, I know, but that's... Oh, now all of a sudden you're worried about me touching things.
Well...
It doesn't matter that I come in and the headphone's already sticky.
I don't even know how that happened.
I don't know. You're going to have to talk to your little minions. Here's the other thing. I think a lot of people think that everyone washes their hands, period. They do not. 1 in 5 people don't wash their hands, period.
What?
They just don't.
Are those children?
It could be. It doesn't say, but 1 in 5 people.
Ugh.
And then it says, and
I think
of
it's
those...
Canadians. I have a Canadian that works here for me, and I am convinced he doesn't wash his hands. If you're Canadian and you can confirm or deny this, please send her an email.
Hate mail.
All goes to Sarah.
y'alldirty@outlook.com. Attention, Eric.
But you can put that, but they all still go to Sarah first. So
I know, but still. Ugh. Okay, so of the people that do wash their hands, only 30% use soap. So this reminds me of a story. I was in a public restroom in a mall in Nashville. And first of all, I just think it's super rude. One of my pet peeves is when people, I don't know if guys do this, they're probably just in and out really quick, but women will go in and they will actually talk on their phones, whether it's speakerphone or FaceTime, but they will have full-on phone conversations in the restroom stalls. And I think it's so rude. Like, obviously, that's like a private area.
it's kind of an odd thing.
Yeah. But one time I came out of the stall and I was washing my hands. And as I'm washing my hands, a girl came in, went to the bathroom, And whether she actually went or not, she did do something, flush the toilet, walk back out, and walked back out the door before I was even finished drying my hands.
Yeah.
Didn't wash her hands. And then another time, a girl came out really quick and she just ran her hands underwater and then grabbed a paper towel and she looked at me and she must have seen the look on my face because she goes, "Oh, I just peed."
Yeah.
Like, so I guess she thought just rinsing her hands because nothing got on her hands.
Huh.
How do you feel about that? What I don't even know if I want to know what guys do when they go into the restroom.
Well, I think it's funny that she clarified. I think that that's her guilt right there. Mm-hmm. She knew what she was doing is wrong.
Right,
I wonder, she might have been Canadian.
Man, you were just adding to it. I can't wait. I can't wait till we get all. I'm going to call it fan mail.
Mm.
And I'm going to text Eric and be like, "Listen, I need you to take care of this."
Yeah, you should. If they have any of their children's art they would like me to review, I'm very good at this.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so the next topic we're going to talk about, and we're going to jump back and forth between two subtopics of this one topic. So in terms of licking fingers, you know what I hear a lot in terms of why people lick their fingers?
Why is that?
Because they're eating chicken wings. They're finger licking good.
Mm-hmm. That's...
So obviously we know that finger licking good is an old KFC slogan. Did you also know that finger licking good was a song by the Beastie Boys on their album Check Your Head?
Just not going to say anything.
A 1967 album by organist Lonnie Smith. The opening track of the album, Don't Stop the Music by the Brecker Brothers, and Eric's favorite, a series of adult films made by Third Degree Films.
What? Is that really a film company?
Yes. Yes, it's... Let me just say this. For the people that don't want all of the crazy search history on their phone or computer, all you have to do is listen to Patreon when we do this episode next week. Because I'm telling you, like, my search history, if anyone looked at it right now, would be like, what? What is she doing? Like, what has she been doing?
I think every episode you should tell us 10 things that are in your search history.
I'm telling you, I have to do a lot of cross-referencing. So there's the way that I Google. I don't know if I'm Googling how other people Google. I'm just saying.
Everybody has their own way.
You know. It is funny. So there is a... Well, I'm going to hold off on that part because that's kind of funny. I'm going to do that another thing. So as far as KFC goes, do you lick your fingers when you eat chicken wings?
No.
I pulled some people myself, just so you know. I'm very, very proud of myself. I reached out to some clients, which was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And in another episode, I'll talk about some of the pet peeves of my clients because there were actually quite a few. But, you know, I would ask them, okay, do you ever eat? You know, do you ever lick your fingers when you eat? Most of them said, if I do, it's chicken wings. Other people said Doritos and Cheetos, if there's like a powder. And I think there's actually some funny Super Bowl commercials from like Doritos where people are licking other people's fingers because they're out of the chips or whatever. So they're just, yeah.
Ugh.
And then the third one was movie theater popcorn, like licking the butter.
Yeah. These are what napkins are for, people.
And wet wipes.
Yep.
So you never lick your fingers when you're out eating?
No.
So I feel like there's two categories of people because some of the answers were, you know, for instance, let me see, where did that go? One of the people that I asked, one of my guy friends, I said, do you ever lick your fingers when you're eating? And he said, as far as wings, never on dates 1 through 5, but once y'all are comfortable with each other, then maybe.
Uh-huh.
Then other people pretty much said gross, never. There's never a good time.
Now, was that guy Canadian?
No, he was not.
Are you sure?
No, he does live in Kentucky.
Oh, well,
But,
there you go.
You've got Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh.
So it seems like there's the category of people that will lick their fingers, but in private. So there's the social aspect of it. Like, I'll do it, but just not around other people.
That's because they know it's wrong.
Right.
And that should be an indicator, you know?
Yeah. Well, and they're trying to be respectful of other people.
It's the same reason why that lady said, her little explanation for the bathroom.
Yeah.
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 Because she knows what she did is wrong.
Right. She knows.
Canadians.
Oh, you. So just to be clear, Eric doesn't like Canadians or hippies, but he loves the subchestorial regions.
Of this kind of the thing though that's kind of bad about that video. She does have a giant arm tattoo, which is distracting. It's like, get rid of that. But
she makes up for it.
She makes up for
the
it.
Chestorial sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so KFC was. Oh, so anyway, and then the other group of people basically said, yes, I will do it, but I wash my hands first, or I only do it if I can, like, it was basically either the social part of it or the germ part of it. So 2 categories with that. Now, as far as KFC goes, do you know where that slogan came from? Like, do you know how that all started?
Probably just some marketing wank.
Well, so you would think. So a lot of those, marketing things are from the marketing people. So KFC was founded in the 1930s by Harlan Saunders. And then in the 50s, apparently he had a stroke, but he still wanted to be part of the commercials. So
So he was just licking his fingers?
Yeah. So you had like one of the restaurant managers actually doing the commercial. They put Harlan, poor Harlan, was in the background eating the chicken, licking his fingers. And somebody called in, somebody saw it and called in and said, he's licking his fingers. It's gross. Mr. Harmon is licking his fingers. And the restaurant manager spontaneously replied, well, it's finger looking good. And that's how it all got started.
Mm-hmm.
So that is probably the most popular restaurant slogan of all time.
Probably. Because it's kind of funny. Same as Arby's. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got the meat. Hilarious.
Yes, which my 8-year-old loves saying.
Oh, I'm sure.
He's got the meat. Yeah,
mm-hmm. He
needs to do voiceovers. We're gonna work on that.
Sure.
So a survey of 2,000 people. This was from Newsweek. It says a survey of 2,000 people found that nearly 3 in 4 Americans won't judge you for licking your fingers after eating chicken wings because they'll do the same. So 73% of the people in the survey said that they lick their fingers after eating wings. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about, which is along the same lines, is celebrity chefs. So there are... Now, do you watch cooking shows?
Actually, yes. I watch Nailed It because it's hilarious.
What's Nailed It?
Oh, I don't even know where to begin.
Okay, all right. Is it something that airs now?
It's a Netflix show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so researchers at Texas Tech University, and it says recently, I think this is from 2008 or something. Anyway, it says researchers at Texas Tech University recently set out to be kitchen spies, so to speak. Over a 2-week period, in 2007, they viewed 49 Food Network cooking shows, including Semi-Homemade Cooking with Sandra Lee, 30-Minute Meals with Rachel Ray, The Essence of Emerald, Everyday Italian, and Paula's Home Cooking. The results, 460 poor food handling incidents. So I watched a couple of clips. I don't really watch food shows, but then again, I don't really cook. So that could be why. But there were 2 celebrity chefs that it was just kind of interesting to see how they responded to being called out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think even though you're on a cooking show, especially if you're sampling the food for other people or cooking for other people, it's still important. Whatever you make, people are going to eat on the show.
Right.
So, back in October of 2020, Nigella Lawson, I think that's how you pronounce her name.
Common spelling.
Yes. She had an episode where she was preparing, it was like a loaf cake. And I watched this and it kind of irritated me. Cake? It's just like a loaf. You know how you make a loaf of bread?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a cake, but it's in a loaf pan.
That's a you can never get the cake to icing ratio correct with something like that. If it's that
That's
thick,
true. Yeah.
you got to cut that thing into thirds.
Well, what was disgusting, because I watched the video and I was pretty irritated. I can see why people called her out on this. So basically they have the food that they make for the show and then they put it in the oven. And then they have like the pre-prepared item that they actually serve to people. So she got in trouble. There were two ways that she could have gotten out of this. So basically she's stirring the batter, pouring it, whatever. As she's carrying the loaf pan over to the oven, you see her like wipe off the batter from the side of the loaf pan and she licks it. Then she puts the pan in and closes the oven, and then she turns around and she does like a finger licking thing. So there's two male co-hosts with her. And the first one actually called her out as she was walking away from the oven and said, there's a tap behind you if you need it. Meaning, you can wash your hands.
Kind of a passive-aggressive thing to do.
Right. But, if you're on live TV, I think it was his polite way of saying, hey, like, you can wash your hands. Like, just turn around. So then she says, I didn't mean to do that. It's just because I didn't have a cloth on me. So, okay, she already did it. She already did it twice. Then this was her excuse, which was fine because all she was touching at this point was the loaf that was going in the oven that may not have been eaten. It was just for show as far as the preparation. She continues. She does not wash her hands. She walks back over to the prepared loaf, and they're both, it's like Matt and Bryn or whatever, or the two guys, but they're both watching in horror because she literally takes this, here she has her explanation, but she takes out this loaf and she starts cutting it and touching it with her fingers, and she's picking it up and putting it on the plate and hands it to them, and they eat it. Then there was a British chef and TV presenter. His name is James Martin. He was out in the French countryside, and he was preparing mussels that I guess came from that town in France that he was in. So he's preparing this bubbly hot dish or whatever. So he's out pretty much in the middle of nowhere, so he can't wash his hands. So he sticks his finger in. I watched the clip of this too. Sticks his finger in, licks it. Then he takes a second finger and goes back in and stirs it. And then he kind of like looks at the camera and says, like, relax, like it's a different finger. But your hands are already dirty. So even if the first or the second finger was different than the first finger,
got it.
Your fingers are still dirty. So anyway, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not much for cooking shows. The reason I thought about this in terms of my clients are the home chefs. Like I have been at client homes before where I'm maybe helping them set up for a party, or maybe we're organizing their kitchen and they're cooking at the same time, and they're sitting there licking their fingers, or they're stirring stuff. They're not using spoons. And then when they're done, they're like, hey, why don't you stay for dinner? I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and jump to our second clip.
Okay.
And if you want to go ahead and play it, then we can talk about
it. Didn't want to play. There we go.
You will literally be living with a child soon. You just should get used to it.
What is this all over you? Is that chocolate or poop? Is that chocolate or poop?
It's chocolate.
What if that had been poop?
Oh.
I miss that movie. That's one of my favorite movies. That's Baby Mama with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. And in the clip, if you've never seen the movie, Tina Fey is wanting to have a child, and she's going through the surrogate process, and her sister, who has children, is, trying to get her prepared. And the kid runs through covered in whatever, and the mom licks the finger of the kid and says, oh, it's chocolate.
Oh.
Eric doesn't have kids. Well, so I have a child, and I still would not lick stuff off of my child's fingers. Like that's...
Children are disgusting.
They are disgusting. And so let me tell you, I did not find a lot that talked about parents licking their kids' fingers. But the reason I wanted you to play this clip was because I did find something that talked about parents who put their baby's pacifier in their mouth, like if it's been dropped on the ground, they put it in their mouth to sanitize it, and then they put it back in their baby's mouth. Have you seen?
Yeah, it never made any sense to me, but I just...
You just
kept
your mouth because you weren't the baby.
Yeah, no, they both have hepatitis.
So we're only going to cover this really quick. The reason that I thought about it was because sometimes I'm in client homes and I find pacifiers in the toy boxes that are covered in stuff. And if I find it, I usually go put it in the sink. But sometimes I'll say, hey, I found some pacifiers when I was organizing that shelf or whatever. And they take it and they just stick it right back in the baby's mouth. And I've seen them under the couch. I've seen them with the dog toys or laying in the dog bed. And, the parents just pick it right up off the floor.
I mean, does it build good immunity in the kids? I don't know.
So one of the articles defending it says that there was a study done where I guess some of these parents that did that, they followed the kids and they had less allergy symptoms.
Yeah.
So like their IgE levels were lower. They didn't have as many allergy problems. But like somebody said, a lot of these parents that now I breastfed. So I am, all about that. But they said that, okay, if these parents also are the type of parents that breastfed, or maybe their kids played in the dirt, which is different. It's different to play in the dirt than to have like floor fecal bacteria on your baby's pacifier. So there were people that defended that. The people that did not like it were the dentist. The dentist actually said, do not lick the pacifier and give it to your baby because that can transfer the bacteria that leads to cavities. So the baby's it can lead to decay in the mouth.
Lame. It's like, Dennis, shut up. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
So now you're pro pacifier lick?
It's when you said, oh, the dentist, it's like, oh, of course they did.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And then, so Medela, and I used Medela. I love them. They talked about how to sanitize and sterilize the pacifiers properly.
It's Medela?
It's Medela.
What is it?
It's a baby product company that they do like the breast pumps and the bottles and pacifiers and stuff. But what I liked is they make these little bags, like steam bags that you can put in the microwave to sterilize, like baby bottle nipples and pacifiers.
Is it a plastic bag?
I just had to say nipple in front of you.
I know, and I'm trying to hold it together. Are these plastic bags?
It is a plastic bag.
So you're microwaving plastic?
Yes.
Yes,
But it's a special microwavable.
Is it?
Man, I feel like you're gonna start coming at me.
Hey,
Mr. Hippie.
No, hey, I'm just
I don't know, Eric.
Devil's advocate.
I don't know.
Here.
I think you're Canadian.
Oh, how could you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up. There's a few other categories as far as our dirty finger lickers. Eric, have you ever played a sport that involved finger licking?
No.
You haven't. Okay. So my one friend, I tell you, he's going to be a good resource for us. The one that said you shouldn't lick your fingers between dates 1 and 5.
Yes.
I asked him if he ever licked his fingers playing sports, and he said, never playing sports. That's gross. He said, I played quarterback, and I would rather spit on my hands than lick them.
Oh, that's fair.
Because that helps them throw the ball.
Yes.
Yeah. And then he says, I did put them down the front of my pants to keep them warm. Smiley face.
Yeah. These are all acceptable tactics.
Right.
He needs a giblets towel.
I may send him one. I'll ask him if he wants one, especially since he's contributing. I appreciate all the contributors to this. So when it came to football, our man Drew Brees, are you a Drew Brees fan?
I don't watch football at all.
Okay. So apparently he actually had a finger licking problem. He had like he actually made the statement, he said, listen, it's one thing to lick your fingers before you get the ball and throw it. That's perfectly normal. But to lick my fingers after I throw the ball, it makes no sense. And when you watch, there's tons of clips of him doing this, but he would lick his fingers, throw the ball, and then immediately lick them again.
Yeah, let me look here. Okay, well, he's from Dallas, Texas. That's maybe part of it.
Eric doesn't like Texans or Canadians.
No, I do. I think I do like Texas, but I don't know.
But he was a cross finger licker. Like he also was somebody who licked his fingers to turn pages. Because that's another category of finger licking, or the people that lick their fingers to turn, like they're reading books and or counting money. So when you talked earlier about the restaurant people that count money, that falls into that. I read a lot about the MLB players that lick their fingers before pitching. And apparently that is a very precise thing. Like you can lick your fingers, you can spit on them, but they have to be dry before you touch the ball. I don't know. Apparently that's, it says you can gain more friction if you have that moisture, but
that's true.
There's all kinds of rules and stuff. Yeah. So we covered football, baseball. Oh, there was I forget his name. I won't call him out. He's probably the only person online that they talked about as far as rock climbing.
Okay.
So when it comes to the chalk, so I guess sidewalk chalk that kids play with is made of calcium carbonate. The gym chalk or the gymnastics chalk, rock climbing chalk, is magnesium carbonate. And the defense is, okay, well, it's magnesium. But people don't realize that chalk they add other stuff to it, like chemicals to make it do certain things, or oils, or whatever. So there's a clip of this rock climber, and I didn't even give you the audio clip because basically when he does it, he's got chalk on his hand, and then it shows him licking the chalk. So not only is he licking his fingers, but he's licking the chalk off of his hands. And the announcers get quiet, and then they just go, ooh. So there's no commentary. They are just in shock.
Yeah.
And I looked it up to see if it's harmful. And apparently the chalk itself isn't harmful, but if you don't know what's added to it, and I guess there's different brands and kinds and all that stuff. So, yeah, I know. Good stuff. Did you ever play an instrument?
Yeah.
What'd you play?
Well, I played guitar in the jazz band in high school.
Nice.
Played the sax.
Okay.
Played percussion.
Okay. So when you played guitar, did you ever lick your fingers to?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
So on talkbass.com, which I'm assuming is for bass players, somebody asked the question, do you ever lick your fingers while playing? And somebody said, I saw a band last night with a bass player who would periodically reach his plucking hand into his mouth and lick his fingers like he was about to turn the page in a book. So then I read the comments, and there were quite a few bass players that said, yes, I lick my fingers. Other ones said no, because that can deteriorate the strings.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. A lot of people use nose grease. So they would rub their nose to get the oil from their nose. Mm-hmm. See, women who wear makeup don't think of this because you would just get the makeup. Mm-hmm. But then you've got the nose grease touching finger lickers. Did you know that there was a category of those people?
No, we need to ask Scotty Ringo because he's a bass player. Ask him if he licks his.
Will you ask him? That's your homework. Ask him about that. So they talked about, a couple people said, you know what, clean hands work best for me, which I think is great. They go wash their hands and then they do a set. And some people swap out their strings like every. Yeah,
that's common.
Stuff. Okay.
So I kind of saw in these bass players, though, I wonder if these are people, because there's, some of the bass players just kind of use their thumb and slap it, and some use a pick, and so probably maybe it kind of depends on the style.
Well, it was funny because later in the comments, so one person said they keep a glass of water beside them and they just dip it in the glass of water, which one of the last people said, you know what, I just eat greasy chicken before playing.
Good grief.
Well, look at you, Mr. Finger Licking Good.
These people.
Oh my goodness. So Sweetwater had a really good article about how to clean your strings. It talked, there's special string cleaners. You can use a microfiber towel. People swap out their strings. Mm-hmm. That was all very interesting. I played the flute in high school, so never any, what?
Nothing. Said your hair looks nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you like my shirt?
No.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, you should mention Sweetwater. Fantastic music store. It's one of the biggest music stores in the country.
Yes.
And
Can you call them?
It's in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Can you call Sweetwater and tell them to listen to us and send us some free stuff?
My personal salesman's name is JJ.
I love it. That's perfect.
Yeah, we could ask him. He's a guitar player.
Maybe we can have JJ on to talk about strings. Or I don't know. Who knows where this will go?
I don't know.
From last week, I need Target to call me.
Okay.
And we need Sweetwater. Mm-hmm. You know, KFC can call us too. I don't care. I like KFC. I've sat in my car eating KFC. I mean, it's hard to touch the steering wheel after that. Don't ask me why I eat chicken in my car. At least I'm not crying eating chicken in my car.
I'd love you. Yeah, just up there just stuffing chicken in your mouth and crying.
Hey, when you're a new mom and you get a break, sometimes you just go get something to eat and eat in your car.
Sure.
I'm serious. It's, I'm not going to lick my kids' fingers and just, hang out.
Sarah's out there looking for a hot meal.
I'm out. I know. I know, right?
Matt, friend of the show, Matt.
Yes.
He's not really a friend of the show, but
right.
he can take a wing down with one. He can just put it in his mouth and pull out the bones, even the flat ones.
Really?
He's very talented.
Now, one person I pulled said that sometimes they go for boneless wings just to keep it classy, just so that it's not as messy.
Yeah, because you can just fork those.
Yeah.
So if you're on a date,
just fork it.
Just fork it.
What the fork? Just do it. Oh, speaking of, and I didn't send you this clip because it's whatever. But KFC at one point had the finger spork things. Did you see those? Where they came out? It was just their little bitty spork, but it fit on your fingertip. So it was almost. I mean, that way, if you were a finger licker, but you didn't actually want to lick your fingers, you could still go through the motions, and you would just lick the little finger spork thing.
I'm gonna pull it up here.
Yes, you need to do it. Like I said, there was a little clip advertising it.
KFC finger sporks.
Yes. Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. Do you see the clip? Yeah, it's that little.
Pull up the image here. That it's weird. So
Eric loves pulling up food porn while we're sitting here.
Apparently, so this looks like a red plastic fork.
Yes.
And that he has his finger in. Yeah. It's really bizarre.
So he is forking the spork.
Why would they do this? Like, it's such a bizarre thing.
He is finger forking the spork.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Did you not see those?
Nope. Look at this lady here.
I know. She's all excited.
Wow.
She's going to go to town on that chicken.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
That picture looks better than what I think it probably is. Look at that.
Yeah. It's okay. That chicken's been sitting there for a while. Okay. So last couple of things, and then we're going to wrap it up because we're running out of time. So the last category in terms of, excuse me. All right. Sorry, I didn't cough on Eric. It's okay. So my mom did this thing one day and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. I was like, you really don't know who you're doing this stuff in front of, but she has type 2 diabetes and she pricks her finger. Mm-hmm. So she did this thing where she pricks her finger and then she just sucked her finger.
Update, Sarah may be a vampire. Does it work that way? Can your mom pass that down to you?
It's probably genetic. I think vampirism is probably a genetic thing. I would not be surprised.
That's why you're pale.
Thank you. See? And that's why I need the tanner. See? Now it's all coming together.
So whenever you see someone that's fake tanned, potential vampire.
Yes.
Maybe a Canadian.
So I looked this up because I'm like, that can't be good, Mom. Like, please don't do that. And she's like, what? Like, it's my own blood, whatever. Like, I guess it's not a huge deal in terms of the actual blood. If it's your own blood, you don't want like other people's blood. You know, we're not like
Angelina
vampires. And exactly. Right. So apparently there was a diabetic who had to get his finger amputated. This was a rare case, but apparently he had injured his finger in a bicycle accident. It was his thumb. His thumb had to be amputated.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. It became infected with flesh-eating bacteria. Because I think when he had that, I think as soon as he cut it, he sucked on it, and he got strep I guess there was strep found inside his mouth. It was found on the skin and the throat. Yeah, and then it was probably worsened by the victim's diabetes. So if you're somebody that already has diabetes and you have a cut,
don't lick it.
Don't lick it. Don't lick it really ever. Just don't do it.
You know, this is another kind of a side thing, but we have someone here in the office that's in a wheelchair, and I tell her all the time, like, she's rolling around in this thing and then eating, and
oh, that's right.
and she's touching those wheels, and I'm like, everybody comes walking through here with who knows what on their shoes and coughing everywhere, and
yes,
she's still alive though, so she may just have like an amazing immune system now.
What? Maybe her mom put her pacifier in her mouth. You know, do you think that maybe you should ask her? Maybe you should ask her if she falls in that category. Okay, so last few things that are kind of fun. So you also have the people that lick their finger to test the weather. Yes. Have you ever done that?
No.
Okay.
Is that because their weather rock is in the shop, or?
I guess they're not a premium member of weather.com like I am.
Yeah. So
I'm a premium member because I'm deathly afraid of tornadoes. So if there's a tornado, I'm not licking anything and sticking it in the air. I'm getting the hell out of there.
Well, I bought Dark Sky, the app. It's owned by Apple.
What's Dark Sky? Oh, is it a weather thing?
Yep. And then there's a message that said, hey, Dark Sky's not going to be supported anymore. We're just integrating it into the Apple Weather app. So I paid for that for nothing.
Do you still have to pay for it?
No, it was a one-time thing.
Okay. You're not going to. Oh, okay. Well, that's dirty.
Yes, it is.
Y'all dirty Dark Sky people.
Filth bags.
Yeah. So apparently, you if it's let's see, you can't do it when the weather is hot and humid, because part of it is where you lick your finger, you stick it in the air, and then whatever side of the finger feels the coolest, that's where the wind is coming from.
Okay.
So whatever.
Yeah.
Another fun thing is that artificial sweetener, specifically, it's like saccharin or saccharin. By now, there's so many artificial sweeteners. Apparently, that was discovered because a chemist, he was in the lab. He was looking for new uses for coal tar derivatives. He forgot to wash his hands before lunch and tasted something sweet on his fingers. So can you imagine what this stuff is really made of? Do we really know what chemical the artificial sweeteners are?
No.
So that's just another fun fact. I'm sure at some point we will cover artificial sweeteners and all those dirty additives.
Yes.
The last thing, this is just for Eric, because I just have a feeling that there's a story behind this. Did you ever give somebody growing up or currently a wet willy?
Oh, of course.
Okay. How common was this?
Oh.
In part of your daily life?
I don't know. Weekly.
So, okay, since I'm a girl and that was just not something that we cared to do, how gross was it? Like, did you ever lick your finger, put your finger in someone's ear and then lick it again?
Well, sometimes, if you're doing a drive-by and you need to get like 2 or 3 people.
Get 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, these things happen.
Do you use a different finger or use the same finger?
Oh, same finger.
Okay, because you have a wet willy finger.
Yeah, but this is when you're 10? You just don't even think about things like that.
Yeah. Oh, so this is how we're going to end the segment. This is because and I want to read this. It's a very, very short article, but I have to read every word that I highlighted because it's amazing. Again, this is just a gift to the episode.
Okay.
Florida man jailed for giving girlfriend wet willy.
Oh.
This was in September 2018.
Uh-huh.
A 47-year-old man was jailed after allegations he gave his girlfriend a wet willy, an affidavit states. Joseph Cerisi was arrested on a battery charge.
Oh my gosh.
After the August 15th incident.
So who called the cops? So she called the cops?
She called. The girlfriend called.
Oh my gosh.
So the sheriff's deputy went to Cerisi's listed address, and his girlfriend said Cerisi was drunk on the living room floor when she got home from work. The girlfriend said Cerisi accompanied her and her daughter to another home where Cerisi continued to drink and be belligerent, the affidavit states. On the way home, she said Cerisi started grabbing her hand and pulling her arm. Further, she said Cerisi continued by giving her a wet willy, sticking his finger in her ear. The daughter of Cerisi's girlfriend confirmed her mother's account. This is what he said. So Cerisi declined to give a written statement, but said he was not intoxicated. So I guess his defense was, I wasn't drunk. I just give wet willies sober.
So that guy maybe has the IQ that's 38.
I don't know. I just, 47 years old. I mean,
yeah,
and I'm sure this woman has dealt with this behavior from him, because I'm sure there's some people that are going to say, oh, she's too sensitive. Like, I can't believe you caught.
But
I'm sure.
When you're past 12,
Yeah.
It doesn't even sound like, I don't even have the urge to do it now. We talked about it. It's kind of like, You know what I mean?
Now you're like, man, it's just not fun anymore.
Yeah.
I know. So anyway, did you learn anything today?
I did.
What was the main thing that you learned?
That I got this towel.
Oh my God. So will you do me a favor? Will you go home and will you wash it first? Right? Because you learned last week.
I was getting ready to touch it to my face too, so I'm glad you said that.
Were you? Yeah, because you don't know where that towel has been.
It's true.
Who has already touched it? I touched it.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Who knows what I've been doing today other than all this Google search stuff on
picking out lampshade
licking
shirts
and stuff. Yeah. So I know you pulled up something for us. I think maybe another episode, maybe in our Patreon episode. Eric has found some really cool stuff that would actually maybe be good for that rock climber.
Yes.
So we will discuss that on next week's Patreon episode. Like I said before, if you want to contact us, our email is y'alldirty, YALLDIRTY @outlook.com. We are now on YouTube. So search for us on YouTube at Y'all Dirty Podcast.
Okay.
That way, if you're listening to the episode and you want to see Eric's Y'all Dirty Jib Towel.
Giblets.
That's right. You can see it on there. And other than that, we're going to let you go for today. Next week's episode, let me just tell you, is going to be amazing. It's something that I have run into for many, many years with clients. It's something that I guarantee no one else is talking about. And I'm very curious to see how Eric feels about this because it actually pertains to males and it kind of involves giblets. So just to give you a little preview. Anyway, so that's enough for today.
And I have special music, outro music today.
Do you?
Yep.
I'm super excited.
I'm going to go ahead and just turn your mic down a little bit.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right, well, then I'll say goodbye. Goodbye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Oh.
Is it going to do it?
There it goes.
DeQuervin's Tino Sino... Okay, I don't even know what that is. DeQuervin's
Turn my mic back up. I got
Okay, I don't even know what that is.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, I can't
believe you played that. So Eric and I have done a couple of commercials together for clients. We also recorded an audiobook together. And so what you're hearing is my bloopers from recording an audiobook for Audible, and he added some music to it. That is fab. So I surprised you today with the towel. You surprised me with the music. So
the outro music.
You got me back.
Yeah, this took about 10 seconds to put together too, so that's the best part. Okay, you want to tell everybody next week?
Yep, we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.